In a world where power often protects the corrupt, one man flipped the script. Malik Thorne was in Just Richie was a billionaire with a razor-sharp mind and a zero-tolerance policy for injustice. When two racist cops tried to humiliate him, they had no idea they were stepping into a trap that would bring down an entire system. Their boots made a splashing sound as they walked into the puddles that were developing on the damaged pavement of the expensive area. A number of rich neighbors had reported a disheveled black man lurking near a luxury estate, which informed them that they had been asked to investigate a suspicious person allegation. This is the story of how one man turned their bigotry into a weapon, made the world pay attention, until he drew out a sleek black key fob with a recognized logo, a roaring lion, which is the badge of the world's most rare luxury vehicle company. Leonis, both cops tightened up as their hands drifted toward their holsters. There was no longer any color on Officer Bradshaw's face, just like you did. He took out his phone, touched the screen, and all of a sudden, the garage doors opened up, showing a fleet of hypercars, each of which was worth millions of dollars. Bradshaw's swallow was forceful. "Look, Mr. Thorne, there's been a misunderstanding." Malik stepped closer and interrupted. "No," as he did so, Thorne. "As in Malik Thorne?" The next morning, the hashtag billionaire checkmate was trending all over the globe. The two police officers, Bradshaw and Riggs, were the most popular villains on the internet. Social internet was filled with memes. When you try to evict a billionaire, but he evicts you from your job, the officer said, "Move along." "No, you should move along," Malik said. Another gadget, a tablet that was legal, was brought out by him, and he gave it to them. However, Malik was not finished. The legal team representing Malik proceeded at a terrifyingly efficient pace. In addition to Bradshaw and Riggs, the whole police department was named as a defendant in the case, which claimed that they had engaged in discriminatory practices. The video from the cops' body cameras indicated that they had a history of racially, that is, a lawsuit for racial profiling and illegal harassment. According to the statement, "My legal team will get in contact with you." What's worse, additionally, their supervisor had disregarded a number of concerns. Once again, Malik dropped another surprise. In the course of a press conference, Malik revealed the most powerful move of all time. Question from the reporter. "Mr. Thorne, what's next in your fight against police misconduct?" Malik gave a smirk. "Funny you should ask." A property deed appeared on the screen behind him as he touched his phone. The cops remained in shocked silence as the vehicle drove away, despite the flashing cameras that were recording their humiliation for the whole world to witness. The prejudice of those individuals had just been transformed into Malik Thorne's most powerful move yet, and they would never be able to forget it thanks to the internet. Nearby, a news van came to a screeching stop at that very moment. With a microphone in hand, a reporter sprang out of hiding as he stood there, stretching lazily, the guy who was later discovered to be Malik Thorne. The reclusive tech tycoon and philanthropist stretched out. "You might be correct." He then made a motion toward the mansion and said, "And this is my property. Purchased it a week ago." The towering double doors of the estate suddenly opened, showing a butler dressed in a spotless suit. This occurred before they had a chance to respond. "Mr. Thorne," the butler called out with a bow. The guy was dressed in a plain sweatshirt that was saturated with rain and trousers, and his locks were flowing with tears of water. Malik gave a smirk. "Without a doubt. Also, I will be providing financing for a new program that will retrain cops on how to really do community policing." As he turned back to the police officers, he was shaking. "And all of you gentlemen, it's over for you." After that, he walked by them as the butler held an umbrella over his head. As far as they were concerned, he seemed to be an outcast, another vagrant who did not belong. Sir Bradshaw yelled out, "You want to move along with this? This is a piece of owned property. Let us know where you are watching from and what time you found this video. We read every single comment and subscribe for more inspiring content." He responded in a voice that was smooth yet had a hint of a sharpness to it. "Is that so?" The youngest of the two Riggs gave each other a sneer. "You are trespassing unless you have a legitimate reason for being here," she said. "Either the simple route or the difficult way is an option for us." As two police officers, Officers Bradshaw and Riggs, got out of their cruiser, the rain fell in thick torrents. When Officer Bradshaw, a hefty guy with a perpetual frown, looked at the person that was sitting quietly on the marble steps of a large home. He tightened his belt. The guy did not show any signs of flinching. He did little more than glance up, his piercing eyes connecting with theirs in a manner that was unsettlingly serene. The individual let out a sigh and reached inside his pocket. "Your jet is ready for your meeting in Dubai at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Do you want me to get the automobile ready?" It was Riggs who stutteringly remarked, but the neighbor said," Malik said. The neighbors assumed, with a chilly tone in his voice, "When someone's drink order is misunderstood, this is an example of a misunderstanding. Is that so? It is a kind of bias. It is Mr. Thorne. Is it true that you are going to give this house to a program that trains young people to become mentors?" He then went into his waiting Leone's Hyperion, which was a vehicle that was worth more than their combined salary over the course of their whole lives. Within a matter of minutes, the footage of Malik Thorne's interaction with the law enforcement authorities became viral. An edited version of Riggs' arrogant look, before and after he realized who Malik was, shown in split-screen format, stereotyping people of African descent who lived in rich communities, which was located behind him. Turns out, the building housing their precinct was owned by a shell corporation which I just bought. The atmosphere in the room exploded. Following that, Malik said, "So here's the deal. Body cameras that cannot be turned off, obligatory anti-bias training, community supervision are the new laws that have been implemented. In addition, the rent is due right now, in responsibility." However, on the same day, the head of police resigned as reporters inquired as to whether or not it was all about vengeance. He just chuckled. Political figures who had, for a considerable amount of time, ignored the existence of systematic unfairness suddenly found themselves looking back over their shoulders. It was his belief that he was untouchable. Then, on a certain evening, he was extended an invitation to attend a private policy discussion that was going to take place in a penthouse that was owned by an unknown donor. "You have 2 options to choose from," Malik added. "Please resign tomorrow and offer your sincere apologies, or I make this information available to the media and the FBI." A head of a police union who, in return for payments, covered up allegations of excessive force among officers. A voting method that is built on blockchain technology to avoid election manipulation. As part of a viral campaign, individuals were given the opportunity to suggest the next corrupt figure for further inquiry. Panic ensued throughout the institution. Lobbyists were in a frenzy. Nobody was safe. The wealthy and powerful came to the realization, a preacher of a megachurch who promoted family values, while also channeling charitable donations into anonymous offshore accounts. With great caution, the president addressed Mr. Thorne, saying, "You are causing a great deal of chaos." He laughed out loud. "The answer is no, sir. I am bringing forth justice." There was a prolonged pause. Later, the president let out a sigh. "What do you want?" Answer from Malik was instantaneous. "It is 3 things. All of them left in the open, but is complete for all of them." However, Malik did not abandon the leaks, an examination of each and every contract for a private jail. According to the stories, he had vanished once again, and this time it was to confront the greed of corporations. A single tweet from his account surfaced at the same time as the whole globe was wondering where he would strike next. Money is not the source of power. Who is terrified of yours is the question at hand. This was the beginning of the search for the next instance of injustice. What about you? You make a speech at prime time, recognizing that our country has a serious issue with racism, and you really figure out how to address it. Nobody spoke in the queue. Next, with some reluctance, I said, "I'll see what I can do." The scenery had changed by the time a year had passed. The governor's face started to become white. Kellington made the incorrect decision. Instead of retiring the next morning, he gave a news conference in which he referred to Malik as rather than being met by other members of the elite, because Malik had not yet finished. A law and order. Conservative with silver hair, he was sitting back in his chair, drinking bourbon and placing a folder on the table. Malik spoke in a charming manner and said, "Governor, how much does a politician's soul go for these days?" Forcing a chuckle, Kellington laughed. "I don't follow." Sliding the folder across the table was Malik's action. The contents include bank records, emails that had been encrypted. "Nah," he said, as he climbed onto his private plane. It's about respect. That was the moment when the millionaire who had outwitted the system vanished into the skies, allowing everyone in the world to speculate about what will be his next step. In a matter of hours, Malik's team succeeded in releasing a digital bomb, which consisted of a collection of papers that were encrypted and exposed. Not just Kellington, but also hundreds of corrupt politicians, judges, and lobbyists. It was referred to as the Thorne dossier by the media, and it caused shockwaves to go across the nation. However, Malik had one more surprise in store for us. That evening, Bradshaw and Riggs, who were feeling embarrassed and without a job at the time, were served with yet another lawsuit by their own wives. After purchasing their houses that had been foreclosed on, Malik transformed them into community centers. After 1 year, the precinct underwent a total transformation, a new way of leading. There are new policies. At the foyer, there is a massive mural of Malik's face, with the following caption: "It was discovered that Malik had covertly provided financial support to a legal assistance organization that assists couples." After years of concealing recordings of Bradshaw's racist outbursts, Bradshaw's ex-wife has now come forward with them after Riggs found out that he had lied about his involvement in many unlawful arrests. She decided to break up with him. Is this the last blow? Know who you're messing with. What about Malik then? When rumors started to spread across the corridors of power, the world was still buzzing about Malik Thorne's takedown of the racist police officers and the whole police department. Governor Richard Kellington had built his career on rhetoric that was harsh on crime. But at the same time, he was covertly receiving funds from lobbyists for private prisons. Malik Thorne was the one who received him when he arrived, and devastating evidence that the governor accepted bribes in order to obstruct jail reform. Radical billionaire trying to intimidate public servants. It was a terrible error.